Hello to all my regular subscribers and welcome to all those who've recently joined. It's good to have you all on board. Forgive the noise in the background, it was pouring with rain when I shot this part of the video. I'm going to show you how I have replaced an old manual turntable with the new Kato turntable. As we move past Ashpeth station, we come to the area where preserved locos that have been passed for mainline running are stored and serviced. I always wanted to motorise this turntable but had no room for a mechanism underneath. The Kato turntable has two motors located actually in the base of the unit. So, with the locos and the buildings removed, the first task was to build a shelf for the controllers, making sure there was a gap at the back for the cables to come through. After the old track and turntable had been removed, I needed to dig out the well a little more to accommodate the new turntable, and dig out an area for the multi-control cable. This is the first positioning for the new turntable, and you can see the complicated control cable which will go under the track leading to the main line. Having measured the new track pieces, I then used a paper template to mark out exactly the amount of space I would need. The track pieces that lead out from the turntable can be isolated by fixing this little power unit underneath. Here I'm confirming the final position for the turntable, and you'll see with the track sections that I have attached to the turntable, I'm using some straight tracks and some curved tracks, so that it will fit into the engine shed. I intend to reuse the engine sheds that were located here before, converting them from 2-lane sheds into 3-lane sheds. Holes were then drilled for the power cables. Note how big the hole needs to be for the multi-control cable. This is the final position with the control cables now connected, and the cradle that was protecting the orange cable has now been removed. The original tracks to the main line and the coaling stage are now connected to the turntable. Connecting the controllers is next. The black box is the turntable controller. There is the mains cable going in, and that is the multi-link cable directly to the turntable. Then a jump cable is added which links to the switches and on to the power controller. Two cables are connected to the isolating switch. The first is the jump cable from the turntable controller, and the second is the cable leading to the isolated track section. Having laid the switch to one side, I now get the blue power controller and plug in the cable from the mains. The isolating switch links into the connectors on the side of the power controller, Finally, the jump cable from the isolating switch fits into the blue control box so that power can now be fed from the power controller through the switch to the turntable controller. So everything is now in place with all of the cables tucked tidily away. The pencil is pointing to an insulated connection which separates the power controller for the main line from the power controller that is feeding the turntable. It is time to test the turntable. The direction switch is pushed into one direction, the turntable rotates, and you center the switch again just before the track that you want to choose. In the opposite direction, click the switch, the platform rotates, and you center the switch immediately before the track you need. There are two motors. One rotates the platform and the other takes over to line up the final track. Now to test the whole system with locos. Turn the power feed on the turntable controller, set the power controller to forward and set the amount of power to match the controller coming in from the main line. Oops, I didn't match that very well, did I? Better next time. I am leaving the A4 there and using the switch to isolate it. The next loco is going to the coaling stage, so set the power controller first. Hopefully this time a better match. That's better. Rotate the turntable and reverse the power and set it on its way for a new load of coal. Now that I know it works, the tracks will be extended to give more room for the locos in the depot. Here you can see that the 2-road shed has been converted into a 3-road shed simply by removing the central divider. When the platform has travelled through 180 degrees, the power direction on the controller has to be reversed. So, that's it. The tracks still need to be extended, the buildings need to be put back in place, everything needs to be detailed and weathered. And hopefully you'll see all of that in another video later on. Bye for now.